So Samsung just went ahead and officially showed off the Galaxy Z Fold or the Z TriFold, and here's everything you need to know. What's up guys, Sal here. So in an event in South Korea, Samsung gave a sneak peek of the Galaxy Z TriFold to a select group of people. It wasn't a full public reveal though. The phone was showcased behind glass, so no one actually got to touch it. The full launch is expected to happen in the next few days, most likely on October 31st. But even with that limited showing, we've already got some solid footage and images that give us our best look yet at this thing. As you can see, it folds in a D-shaped design exactly like the leaks and firmware animations hinted at. The cover display sits in the middle, the camera system is on the left panel, and the right panel is just an empty section. The cover screen measures 6.5 inches and when fully opened, it unfolds into a 10-inch tablet. Now, one of the first things you'll notice right away is the bezels. They're definitely not small. In fact, they look noticeably thicker than what we saw on the Z Fold 7, both on the cover display and the main screen. There is a punch hole camera on the inner screen, same as the Fold 7, and on the back, the camera housing also looks identical to the Fold 7, and the specs are expected to stay the same too. Now what's interesting is that recently Samsung's leaked firmware hinted at 100x zoom on this phone, while the Fold 7 only goes up to 30x. That started speculation that Samsung might have added a 5x periscope zoom lens like the one on the S25 Ultra. But from what we can see here, the third lens looks very similar to the one on the Fold 7, not the Ultra. The Ultra's periscope lens is noticeably larger, so my guess is the Z TriFold still uses a 3x telephoto lens. Can I say that with 100% certainty? Absolutely not, since no one could go hands-on with the device, so we'll have to wait for the full reveal to know for sure. As for the thickness, it's surprisingly reasonable. When folded, it looks about as thick as an index finger, which probably puts it in the 12 to 13mm range, roughly the same as the Z Fold 6. That's pretty impressive for a phone with 3 separate panels. Each panel looks super thin too, around 4mm by the looks of it, judging from the size of the volume buttons and the fingerprint sensor. I was already expecting this thing to be a brick, but it seems Samsung actually managed to keep it sleek, at least by TriFold standards. Also, if you look closely, the frame isn't completely flat. Around the fingerprint scanner and volume buttons, it slightly curves inward. And that's actually a smart move. It fixes one of the biggest design annoyances with the Z Fold 7. Since that phone was so thin, it could be tricky to open, especially in the morning when your hands are dry or sleepy. I've even dropped it a couple of times because of that. But this new inward curve gives you a subtle notch to slide your thumb into and open the phone more easily. It's a small tweak, but it makes a huge difference in daily use. Now Samsung has confirmed that they are planning to bring this TriFold to users within this year. But the availability story is where things get confusing. According to Evan Blass, it might be limited to just 5 markets, South Korea, Greater China, and the UAE among them. But no US release, at least initially. That's disappointing, but Samsung's comment gives a bit of hope. If they weren't planning a wider release, they probably wouldn't have said it's coming to users within this year. So reading between the lines, Samsung might launch it in select markets first and then expand to others, possibly including the US later this year. Production numbers are rumored to be between 50,000 and 200,000 units, which makes sense given the price and how experimental this thing is. Speaking of price, yeah, it's not cheap. The Korea Herald reports it will cost around $2,800 in South Korea, about $1,000 more than the Z Fold 7. That's a huge jump, but to be fair, this is a brand new form factor. Hopefully once Samsung scales up production in millions, they can bring the cost closer to $2,200. That would make it a lot more appealing. Spec-wise, the Snapdragon 8 Elite chip is expected under the hood, not the newer 8 Elite Gen 5. RAM goes up to 16 gigs, storage up to 1 TB, and while the camera setup might stay the same as the Fold 7, we still need clarity on that 100x zoom situation. The battery capacity hasn't been confirmed either, but if I had to guess, I'd say around 5500 mAh. Samsung is expected to fully unveil the phone on October 31st, so we won't have to wait long to get all the details. And by the way, there's actually one more key feature of this Galaxy Z Fold that might make this a real tablet replacement. Click here to watch that video, and I'll see you there.